So, St. Patrick's Day in America, we think of it as like Irish Day, right? So we do Irish things like we wear green, and we have big parades, and if you're really in the mood, we eat like corned beef and cabbage, because that's what they do in Ireland. But you might be surprised to learn that all the things I just said actually started in America. Those are all American St. Patrick's Day traditions. So today I'm going to tell you about St. Patrick's Day and the history and the significance. I'm going to talk about St. Patrick himself. Then I'm going to go with the traditions associated with the holiday, and also specifically as it pertains to the U.S. So St. Patrick, we have a picture of him right here. He was born in Wales, which is actually this purple part right here, and he was Roman because it was occupied by Rome, and he was born to a wealthy family, and he was taken as a slave to Ireland. He was captured, and he worked as a shepherd for about 6 years, and during that time he became really religious because he was in a different culture and everything. But after about 6 years, he escaped, and he went to France, what was called Gaul, and he studied with the church, and later on he went back to Ireland as a missionary, and he incorporated pagan beliefs with Christian beliefs, for example, the Celtic cross right there on the upper right. The circle is the image of the sun, which is a powerful pagan symbol, and also they used to have bonfires on holidays, and so he would have bonfires for Easter and Christmas and things like that. He also used the shamrock to illustrate the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, like the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And he was eventually made the Bishop of Ireland, so Catholic Church, and he converted almost the entire island. He died in about the year 460. There's some debate about that, but he died on March 17th. That's why the holiday is on March 17th, which actually will be next Wednesday for us. Some traditions that go along with the holiday. The holiday falls during Lent, which is a period of fasting and prayer. And when you think of St. Patrick's Day, you don't think of fasting and prayer. You think of drinking and partying and everything. And it was a break from that. They would go to church in the morning, but all night would be a big celebration, big meals, and a typical Irish meal would include ham, and that's because beef is not available on the island. It wasn't until Irish immigrants came to America and they settled in neighborhoods with Jewish people, and the Jewish people would have these delis, and they had beef, and it was more available in America because we had a lot of cattle, and that's where it became popular. So it's actually an Irish immigrant thing. Traditional holidays, just dancing and storytelling. But today, more we associate drinking, and then especially wearing green and things like that. In America is where it became big around the world, because we would throw these big holidays. In the 1737, the city of Boston, which was a colony back then, they threw a big public celebration, and the first government-sponsored parade was in New York in 1766. Every year, the Chicago River, that's the picture on the far upright, is dyed green, and they have a big parade. They put the dye in water to detect leaks in the water system, and they just do it on the whole river. So it's done by like private funds every year and everything. So yeah. Also on the East Coast, a lot of mayors would throw big public celebrations for their Irish constituency, because there was a lot of Irish people in the neighborhoods, and by having a big St. Patrick's Day celebration, they'd raise awareness, and people would, Irish people would vote for them, hopefully. So that's why it's so popular in America, and I'll leave you with a quote I found in one article. It was, in America, everybody's a little bit Irish on St. Patrick's Day.
So Rachel, what did you think?
I thought it was a very good presentation. I liked how he started off by getting to the point that he wants to tell us that it's not an American tradition. He wants to tell us the real history behind it. I liked he outlined his first 3 points at the beginning. One thing is when he was talking about the traditions, about the beef, he kind of trailed off a little bit. It kind of got off, it didn't have the flow. I liked your visuals. It was simple and big enough to see. The map was a little small, but it was color differentiated, so you could tell what you're looking at. And overall, I thought it was a very strong presentation.
All right. I'd agree with a lot of the things that you just said. For instance, on the visuals, it's all up there the whole time, so it's all in the background, so nothing is focusing our attention at any given time. Some of the images are a little bit small, but on the one map you do have the color differentiation. I thought that was nice. And even though the picture's a little bit small, you can definitely see the dramatic green in the river there in Chicago. I thought that worked well. Although your explanation of it, I think, was only partial. You need to fill in a little bit more. It just seemed like all of us, at one point we're talking about checking the leaks, and the next thing we're talking about is the river's green, and I'm trying to figure out how we got from the one to the other. And I know that there's a story there, but you don't tell the story, and so stuff kind of gets a little bit left out there. And that happens in a couple of other places. On the other hand, there are other things that I thought that you did a nice job on, especially discussing how the traditions that we think of as being related with St. Patrick's Day are particularly American traditions. There are American traditions about the Irish who immigrated here. The corned beef, for instance, being a reflection of the Irish living in neighborhoods where there are Jewish delis and having access to beef, but maybe still having that tradition as to the way they want it prepared, for instance. I think that's one of those things people don't always know. They look at pastrami and they see corned beef and they think, well, that can't be beef. That's got to be something else. Even though it's corned beef, people think, oh, that sounds like it's or it looks like it's something else, and what the heck are the Jews doing selling this pork stuff here? And it's not, So I think that there's an interesting connection there that you point out. I thought the structure, you set it up pretty well in the speech. I like the opening. So most of the stuff in the introduction is good. The development of the material is a little inconsistent. Organizational, though, I thought when you were going through the ideas that your transitions were almost non-existent. It just seemed like we were in one idea right after the next without any transition or movement from that point, and so it seemed a little abrupt to me. The presentation, Rachel said one thing that I thought was also true, and that is that your voice tends to drop off, and sometimes it sounds like, well, I'm done. I'm not interested in talking about this anymore, so let's move on to the next point. And then your voice is doing that. That's, again, something we're going to focus on more on the next go-around on presentations. Thank you very much. Looking forward to